Austin-Weston, the Center for Cosmetic Surgery, is proud to present the New Now podcast, today featuring Dr. Byron Poindexter. And now, here's your host, Rebecca Bennett, and Dr. Poindexter.
Good morning. How are you?
I am having a great day so far. Don't mess it up.
That's awesome. Are we working on our radio voices?
I'm working on my radio voice, and it's better if we do this in the morning because it is down low. It's deeper down there in the morning. Okay. So yeah.
And then you start to
rage. The afternoon, as the day goes on, it just gets higher and higher. And,
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm Mickey Mouse by evening.
All right. So today we're talking about something a little bit less goofy.
Yes.
Breast implant related illnesses.
Yeah.
Now, I think I'm the perfect candidate to talk about this with because I know nothing about this.
Then we're
we're
very close together on that because breast implant associated illness, and like you said, it's like, well, you know nothing, and the reality is none of us really know anything about this because it may not be an actual thing. It's nothing to poo-poo. It's nothing to say, okay, this is just way out of left field. It's something that's gained a lot of traction, probably out of social media, out of ways people were not able to connect before, and that can be great. But it's also a way for a lot of misinformation to exist or come into being, right? So we know people go down a rabbit hole with a lot of stuff. And so you're out there and you're Googling and you're looking, and you find something that kind of says, well, that seems like me, that may be like me. What we've now have with breast implant associated illness is a grouping of subjective symptoms. So subjective versus objective. If I am trying to determine if somebody has high blood pressure, I can objectively measure their blood pressure and say, good, this top number is 140 or above. That's what we are going to define as high blood pressure, and then we may change that at time in medicine and say, oh, it's not 140 anymore, it's 130, and we treat it, and we can see changes with medications, right? Subjective is like, I'm tired, subjectively I'm tired, and I feel tired, but can I get a measure of that? So now these subjective symptoms that people have will be things like I'm tired, or I have brain fog, or my knee hurts, or I'm losing my hair. And these are all things that may be occurring. They are definitely experiences of people. But then they'll say, well, I also have breast implants. I wonder if that's the cause, or that is the cause. I know it. I have these breast implants and they're making me sick, and they're creating these issues. When the studies have been done to get breast implants to market years ago, they were very highly studied about relationships of autoimmune disorders and disease. And that would be things like lupus, which you can actually measure. There are diagnostic criteria. You look at the blood. You could look at some factors that you can take. And yes, you have lupus. You look at scleroderma. You look at rheumatoid arthritis. There are factors that you can find where that, and so all these things that were studied as much as they could find no relationship between implants and these diseases.
And who does these studies typically?
So these were independent studies. These were not the breast implant manufacturer studies. These were independent medical groups that were tasked with doing this to see if these things could, if there might be a relationship with the implants. Mm-hmm. So there are independent studies that looked at it, and they could find no higher incidence of these diseases in women who had implants or ruptured breast implants than women who didn't have implants at all. So that's why the FDA felt comfortable giving approval. That's why plastic surgeons felt comfortable providing it as an option for women to get breast implants, because we had this data that says they don't seem to be making you sick. Not that they're perfect. We know that there are things that are associated with breast implants. They're not lifetime devices. They may rupture. They may require secondary surgeries. There could be pain after this procedure. There's things. So those are the things that we really discuss and make sure that people are aware of them so that they can say, yes, this is something that I'm interested in, or it's not.
And these are all types of implants.
Correct. It's all types of implants, whether it's saline or silicone. Everything is going to have some possibility.
And about what, not to put you on the spot, but about what year were those approved, would you say, by the FDA?
Yeah, it was the mid 2000s. I mean, between 2000 and 2010, I'm thinking 4 or 5 or 6. And I reserve the right to be wrong. That's a phrase I've used a lot.
Well, part of the reason I was asking that question is because I think it was, years ago, but there are now, because of social media, we're seeing a lot of questions about the safety of implants, even though years ago. Right.
And so in the 1990s, there became a moratorium or stop on silicone implants. Couldn't get them. It was like probably 1992 or so. There was this concern that implants are causing these diseases that I just talked about. And they were pulled off the market. And so you could not get a silicone implant for an extended period of time, especially for a straight breast augmentation, maybe for a breast reconstruction, but mostly they were using saline implants during that interim. The studies started, and we participated in those studies in the late 1990s, and you could then put these implants back in. And then we followed the women for years to see, are we seeing any incidence of these diseases? And it turned out that it seemed like it's okay. Yeah, all the information that we had to that date and to this date, because they're still being followed, is that the implants are safe relative to this disease process. And so that's when they returned to the market for anyone to be able to get, anyone over the age of 22 to be able to get a silicone breast implant. And I think it was in that time frame sometime along that mid-2000 range. Before that, you had to be a part of the study and you had to qualify. You had to have had an issue with a saline implant that was existing, or you had to be getting a breast implant with a lift. And so that was the group that qualified, and they were all over 22, and that's where that number came from. So we got all that information at that point. So now come years later with social media, Facebook groups, things like that, where people who start to say, hey, I have this illness, these implants are making me sick. They have a platform to be able to express their concerns and say, this is what I have going on. So it becomes a large number of people, but we still don't have any idea whether it's really a thing or not. And when you start saying all these things might be related to it, it's really so much that you're not going to be able to figure it out. Unfortunately, there's such a wide variety of things that are, again, subjective, that you're saying it. So everybody lumps their problem in with this. So now basically you can blame anything on it. And the problem with that is you can't figure it out scientifically. So you can blame. How do you figure it out then? Well, you have to have a lot of time to get a lot of data and look it up, or you start taking implants out. And see, do people get better? But do they get better subjectively? Is it true because there was an issue, or is it to a degree a placebo effect? Is it just a healing narrative, which is actually a thing that takes place in plastic surgery? It's like, all right, I'm going to do this, and I feel it's going to make a difference for me, and you believe that, and you take the steps to have that happen, whether it's get a facelift to make yourself, feel and look more attractive, or get your breast implants taken out, and when it's all said and done, you do feel better. All right, so we don't know what it's going to be, relative to that. I'll go out of this is my own limb now of things, and say, it's like, well, we think people are hypothesizing that if it does exist, why? Well, maybe it's these little bacteria that are producing something that are in such minute amounts that whatever's happening with them is creating the issue, and that's what's making people sick, or something else that's a phenomena of the body rejecting the process. That's all Western medicine, right? So that's bacteria bad. I myself go get acupuncture at times. I believe it works for me. I have back pain, neck pain, and some anxiety, my guy, he's fantastic, puts the needles in, and you're working on your lines, to these the parallels. Here's where you treat the liver. It might be up by your ear. And what if the issue really is that breast implants in some people are putting pressure on a spot that's upsetting their system, that's making their hair fall out? Could it happen? Might be, relative to that. And how the pressure, like acupuncture, are we going to be able to, do I actually think that's true? Probably not, but I could make a really good argument for it. Just like people could make a really good argument that they have their breast implant and it's the cause of their knee pain or their weight gain or whatever. So breast implant associated illness, does it exist? We don't know. We'll be able to find out that it exists. I doubt it. And if we do find out that it is a true entity, when will that be? It'll be a long time from now.
And if you have a patient who comes in and says, I've heard this, and that, and the other, and of course there are risks associated with every plastic surgery procedure, how do you sort of talk them off that ledge? Or is it not for everyone? If you have really true concerns about this, maybe you shouldn't go through with the surgery.
It's absolutely, thank you. It's a great question. When someone comes in and they have already a lot of concern, it's not a bad place, I believe, to stand in and let them know that those concerns are valid, because we don't have the information and we're not going to be able to get the information, and they're going to have to decide if they themselves are comfortable moving forward with this from that place. Because what I don't need at this point in my career, which is my latter years, that I'm in a position that I have wonderful patients that I love to take care of, and don't drive me crazy. And I don't need someone that we've now, formed a union by putting these implants, and then it's going to be like, well, what's going on in there now? And then they need to come back the next week, and I'm not sure, and should I do something? And now do I take them out? And that is a lot of work. And so you're right, there may be people that don't need to be talked off the ledge, and into implants. They need to be talked off the ledge and out of implants, and just say, yeah, it's not for everybody. It's not for you. Let's not do this. Let's not go down this road to something that you're going to be uncomfortable with, and it's going to make me crazy. I like to go home and have a nice, peaceful day and tell my wife how well it went, not like, oh my gosh, you can't believe.
Gotta go get more acupuncture.
Yeah, exactly. then it's more acupuncture. So yeah.
Are there alternatives to implants?
There are. They're not fantastic for adding great volumes. There's things like fat grafting to the breast, which has its own drawbacks. The fat, in some instances, when those little cells die, it may make it more difficult to detect breast cancer, or is that little spot of, I shouldn't say more difficult, but is that little spot that now shows up on the mammogram, is that a piece of dead fat from the fat grafting procedure, or is it a breast cancer? So then you're doing other things to study that. So now you're going to have biopsies and other, and you just can't get good volume from it, and have it be nice, nice soft breast volume. So you can go up a cup size maybe if you have fat, and then realize that fat is going to do what the other fat in your body does. It's going to grow with you as you grow, or shrink with you as you shrink. And the issue that a lot of people that are looking for breast augmentation have is that they don't have a lot of body fat, and therefore they don't have fat in their breast making them big already. So where are you going to get the fat from? So yeah, if you're already, you're like, oh, I like to work out, I'm pretty fit, but my breast just went away when I started working out. Well, guess what? We're not going to find the fat to bring your breast back.
And regarding misinformation as a whole, where do you recommend patients or potential patients go to get those questions answered if they're really concerned about this?
So as far as I think a good website for kind of universal review would be plasticsurgery.org. That's the American Society of Plastic Surgeons. Pretty sure I got that right. So plasticsurgery.org, not .com. But they're both probably, owned by reputable organizations. But that's going to be the national organization of plastic surgeons. It's going to give you kind of like the book answer on a lot of stuff. And again, the book answer on a lot of stuff is going to be like, we don't know. Yeah, and it's going to say, talk to your surgeon. And then the other is going to be looking for a board-certified plastic surgeon that is certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery. You don't want someone who's certified by the American Board of Cosmetic Surgery because it's not a real entity. So it's not recognized by the American Board of Medical Subspecialties.
Interesting.
So it's a group of people. And I shouldn't just blame it on them. There are all kinds of organizations that do certification. Mm-hmm. And so people will say, I'm a certified cosmetic surgeon. I'm a certified aesthetic medicine specialist. Well, that's fine. I'm a certified horse poop scooper. I do it every day, and I should have it. But who's really the organization that goes around and gives me the seal of approval on that? So the American Board of Medical Subspecialties, they're the group that comes around and says, you know what, we give you a seal, boom, you are a cardiac or cardiothoracic surgeon. Boom, you are an obstetrician gynecologist. Boom, you're a gastroenterologist. We are certifying that and there's only 30-something to 40-something of these recognized subspecialties. I believe I reserve the right to be wrong on that exact number, but there's not that much. There are probably as many, cosmetic and aesthetic certifications as there are actual recognized for all the rest of medicine. So anyway, board certified by the American Board of Plastic Surgery. Go see them with your questions specific to breast implants. Are they right or wrong for you? I think that would be a great resource. That was a really, that was a left-hand turn off the subject matter.
Well, I was going to add, you are certified, right?
I am certified, yes, and recertified, and recertified again. So that's a thing with the American Board of Plastic Surgery is starting back in the 1990s, they said, we're not going to give you a lifetime certification. What we're going to give you is something that you're going to come back and every 10 years, you're going to prove your metal. And that would be an interesting thing. I want to kind of like dart over to our master quiz answer mark on that. It's like, is it metal or metal? And that's like you're gonna prove your metal. Is it? I don't know which one, how to spell that. So wherever it's being put down here, I have to figure it out. And I'd like to know the origin of that thing. But yeah, you have to come back and prove that you're still up to it. You answer questions, you take a test, you go through certification things where you log in the cases that you've been doing and kind of the success rate or issues that you're having with those. So that's a process that I've now been through twice, and I'm certified long enough that it'll take care of me for the rest of my years.
Thank you. And well, you're also a certified pooper scooper, so.
I am. So if there's anybody in need in the Northern Virginia area, we have that for you.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Austin-Weston's New You Now podcast. If you liked what you saw or heard on today's episode, please like and subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions about any of the topics we've covered today or in past episodes, send us an email at hello@austin-weston.com or just leave us a comment below. See you next time.
For more information, visit austin-weston.com or call our offices for a consultation, 703-893-6168. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast series, Austin-Weston, the Center for Cosmetic Surgery.